Rumors have been flying online, including one from a man in Baltimore who claimed to be her child's father. Things only heated up when Jason and Natalie stepped in, calling out what they describe as Crowan's pattern of playing the victim while stirring up the problems herself. Natalie even went as far as saying Crowan has been struggling financially and, at one point, allegedly resorted to escorting just to maintain the high-cost baddie image. Even the Zeus network appears to be frustrated. She has reportedly been in a long back-and-forth with executive Lemuel Plummer, and judging by the tension, she may not be returning to any Zeus programs in the near future. Jason Lee also made his own bold claims, saying that Junior's father is actually someone named Ronnie. According to the allegations, Blue was never meant to find out, and when Ronnie supposedly started speaking publicly, Crowan allegedly tried to silence him in drastic ways. None of these claims have been proven, but they have added fuel to an already intense online firestorm. Recently, Chrisean was reportedly dropped from Zeus after clashing with CEO Lemuel Plummer and multiple members of the production staff. According to Chrisean, filming had taken a dramatic turn when a scene escalated into a real physical fight between Chrisean and her sister Techie. Tempers flared, emotions ran high, and Chrisean ultimately walked off set altogether. In classic fashion, she immediately took to Instagram Live to air out her frustrations publicly. She accused Zeus of being demonic, claiming producers intentionally set up situations designed to pit her and her sister against each other for the sake of explosive television. She even pulled Natalie into the mix, alleging that Natalie fully understands what goes on behind the scenes, but chooses not to speak out because she's being paid to stay quiet. Chrisean insisted that neither she nor her sister wanted to fight, saying that the environment around them felt dark and orchestrated. She claimed the cast wasn't fed properly, that everyone was kept stressed and uncomfortable, and that many of the women, Natalie included, were afraid to voice their concerns. But realistically, most viewers already know what Zeus represents. The network's formula has always revolved around stirring conflict, creating drama, and showcasing televised chaos. Chrisean signed up fully aware of that landscape. Her outrage only seems to have surfaced once her paycheck stopped reflecting what she expected. And her criticism of Natalie being silent because she's compensated implies that if she herself was still being fairly paid, she might not be speaking out either. Things surrounding Cash are rapidly spiraling into one of the most controversial sagas in recent entertainment drama, and the latest developments are arguably the most shocking yet. Reports indicate that she is now under investigation in connection with the death of her ex-boyfriend, Ronnie, a claim that has sent shockwaves through her social media following and beyond. This development gained particular attention after Cash herself seemed to hint at his demise during a highly charged public rant, using language that suggested she had him when he lived. The implications of that statement alone were enough to ignite an intense online debate, with fans and detractors alike speculating about the true circumstances behind Ronnie's death. Adding fuel to the fire, Cash didn't stop at insinuations about Ronnie. In the same rant, she appeared to direct a pointed warning toward Blueface, implying that similar consequences could befall him if he didn't cease what she described as playing games with her. Her message was unmistakably clear. Anyone who disrespected, embarrassed, or attempted to undermine her was risking serious repercussions. What stood out in her delivery was the assertion that she does not act impulsively, yet anyone who crosses her could face severe consequences, an ominous warning that left many questioning the boundaries between hyperbolic bravado and real-life intent. The gravity of these statements is compounded by the context surrounding her ongoing legal and personal entanglements. Cash has long been a figure of public fascination, frequently drawing attention for her drama-laden personal life, her complex relationships, and her involvement in high-profile controversies. However, this alleged connection to Ronnie's death shifts the narrative from social media intrigue to potential criminal scrutiny. Even those who have followed her career closely are forced to reckon with the seriousness of the situation. The stakes are no longer just emotional or reputational, they could be legally and morally significant. What makes this chapter particularly compelling and frightening for many is the way Cash frames her actions and her warnings. She positions herself as someone not to be underestimated, claiming a level of vigilance and self-protection that is both calculated and unyielding. Whether interpreted as a dramatic defense mechanism, a strategic ploy for attention, or a veiled confession, the rhetoric undeniably intensifies the public's curiosity and concern. It also feeds a broader narrative about the intersections of fame, power, and danger in her world, where personal disputes often play out on public stages and digital platforms with very real consequences. In essence, this episode marks a new high in the controversy surrounding Cash, blending elements of suspense, threat, and mystery. The combination of alleged involvement in a death, threats toward a prominent musician, and a very public display of emotion and aggression has transformed what might have once been tabloid fodder into a full-blown narrative that raises legal, ethical, and social questions. For observers, it is a cautionary tale of how quickly personal conflicts in the spotlight can escalate, and how fame, perception, and alleged misconduct can collide with potentially devastating outcomes. The Ronnie connection adds another layer to an already tangled narrative. He was the person who lent credibility to Blueface's initial claims that Junior wasn't his son. Before Ronnie's revelations, the public assumed Blue was simply avoiding Junior out of resentment toward Cress. But Ronnie insisted he had been involved with Cress while she was with Blue and claimed that Junior could be his son, even expressing willingness to take a paternity test to prove it. Here's where the story takes an even darker twist. Cress allegedly resisted giving Ronnie a paternity test. And shortly after Ronnie engaged legal counsel, he died. Following his death, Cress posted a paternity test from 2023, supposedly proving Blueface was Junior's father. However, investigative work by Steve Wilkos exposed that the document was fraudulent. The hospital tied to the test confirmed that the case number didn't match any official records, indicating that Cress had downloaded a generic test template online and edited it to include her own details. The controversy has left the authenticity of the paternity claims and the chain of events surrounding Ronnie deeply questionable, fueling an already explosive saga. Digging deeper into the paternity controversy, the so-called case file Cress posted has major inconsistencies. When investigators checked, the case number was real but didn't correspond to the parents she claimed. The blood sample wasn't even taken in 2023. It was from a completely different year. In other words, the official documentation she presented doesn't back up her story. Meanwhile, the allegations from Natalie and Jason add another layer of intrigue. They claim Blueface was never meant to find out that Cress was allegedly pregnant by Ronnie. The implication was that she planned to push Junior onto Blueface to secure her place in his life. But Ronnie's explosive claims derailed that plan entirely, casting Cress in a far more suspicious light and giving her alleged motive for wanting Ronnie out of the picture more weight. On top of that, rumors about Cress's financial struggles have resurfaced. Natalie and Lemuel allegedly helped her turn to escorting to make ends meet. This echoes a viral video where Carissa accused Young Miami of grooming Cress for Diddy's freak-offs. According to Carissa, Young Miami had been spending a lot of time with Cress, taking her out frequently, and it only became clear later that she was essentially being recruited to entertain Diddy. Adding fuel to the fire, there's video evidence supporting some of these claims. One clip shows Cress at a Diddy party, receiving hugs and kisses from him in a way that raised eyebrows. Another video has Cress recounting an incident involving Diddy confronting Lemuel Plummer, the executive producer of Baddies, adding yet another layer of drama to an already tangled story. All of this paints a picture of a whirlwind of manipulation, hidden motives, and public spectacle surrounding Cress, leaving audiences both fascinated and skeptical. Jason Lee stirred the pot even further by bringing Chrisean's sister, Techie, onto his show and grilling her about whether Croc had any involvement in Ronnie's death. Rumor has it Jason got wind that Chrisean may have had associates confront Ronnie, so he strategically asked Techie, fully aware that she wouldn't hold back when speaking about Croc. During the interview, the conversation hinted heavily at Croc's alleged connection to Ronnie's demise. Techie confirmed that a man from Baltimore, who had claimed to be Croc's child's father, ended up dead. While details were murky, the suggestion was that the situation wasn't coincidental and that certain people might have been involved. Techie admitted she couldn't speak fully on the matter, emphasizing the complexity of the events and her role as a bystander rather than law enforcement. She did reveal, however, that the man had confronted Croc in public and had a pending paternity test before his death, which only fueled speculation online. Viewers weighed in with mixed reactions. Some argued that Junior bears a striking resemblance to Ronnie, suggesting the man's death and the paternity question are haunting Chrisean, possibly explaining her erratic behavior. Others insisted that Junior's resemblance confirms Ronnie as the father and urged people to stop the endless speculation. This entire situation raises two burning questions. Was Croc truly involved in Ronnie's death, and was her alleged scheme designed to trap Blue with Junior? The speculation is relentless, and audiences are left to sift through the rumors, evidence, and interviews to form their own conclusions. Click here to watch the full, messy conversation and decide for yourself.